Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss how to build production ready pagination component using React, TypeScript and normal CSS. But before doing that, we will understand why pagination is required and then we will build this from scratch. So without a further ado, let's get started. First thing first, why pagination is required? So pagination is required when we are dealing with large data set, because if you fetch all the data at once, it will slow down your browser, it will slow down your server. So it is very much required to manage those data efficiently. So we can broadly define the pagination into why it is required in four broader categories. One is to improve the performance, second would be enhance the user experience, third would be reduce the network load, and fourth is going to be optimize the backend resources. So improve the performance, you can just understand, let's say you are fetching thousands of record, what will happen? Your browser will get slow or maybe freeze if you are not managing properly. Second, if let's say you are getting all the data and then you will present on the screen, then there will be a huge scroll and user have to scroll till the end to see all the data, which is kind of a bad experience. Third, going to be reduce the network load. So what happens, if you fetch all the data at once, it will it will download unnecessary data where user might not be interested, right? So that also we can you can minimize that. And fourth point is optimize the backend resources, meaning that if you are fetching all the records, there might be a CPU memory uses hike and all those things. So you can avoid all by implementing the pagination in your in your API as well as in the front end. So to send the data efficiently to the backend, we required the pagination component. So that is what we are going to build here. So this is all the background. It is not required to discuss here, but I thought it would be a great idea to discuss here so that you will have a little understanding why this pagination component is required. So yeah, let's get started with the React part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a folder called pagination, and inside that I will create the pagination component, right? Okay, let's say pagination.tsx. Normal React, I will use functional based component because everywhere we are using this one only. Now if you think what are the props that would be required for this pagination, so on top of my head I can think of, let's start by defining the interface first. So export interface, and let's call it pagination props, right? So first thing that is coming into my mind is going to be total, what is the total value that we want to paginate, right? So that is going to be a number. Second thing that is coming into my mind is how many records that we want on a page. So we have to say per page records, right? So let's define the property per page, and that is also going to be a number. Next is going to be let's say what is selected, maybe user would need to know, right? So maybe we can use the something called current page. And next thing I can think of is if user clicks on that particular button, right? Let's say I'm on third page or second page, so on page click we can say, right? So let's define this as a function which will return nothing, but in the callback it will pass where user has clicked. So it is going to be a number again. Next thing that comes into my mind is, right, there will be two more on next, right? So user, let's say there is a, at the end of our pagination, right, there is a next button. So next button, so we can call this on next, and then there could be previous as well. So on previous also we can use. So these are the properties that I can think of, where per page we can use some by default value. Current also we can something like, it's not that important, but yeah, this user wants, they can subscribe, I mean they can pass the, like, you know, props, but total is going to be mandatory, like important. So that's where I have marked as important, and all other are, like, you know, kind of optional. But on page click also I have made it like, you know, important. So let's pass here these props, and now first what I will do is, like, I will destructure this all, like, you know, props. So whatever things that is required now we will use it. So let's say total is required, then per page let's define a default value as 10. Next is current page, let's say start with like 1 probably, right, and user can pass this data. So this would be required when you are kind of landing to some, let's say not starting with directly 1, you are starting with number 2 page. So in that scenario this property is going to be, like, you know, important. Next is on page callback, then we can take on next, and then on previous. So these all I have taken. Now next we are going to do. So we need one state variable that we can manage. So let's start with first thing, like we will take the total page, and then we will divide with per page. So that is going to give us, you know, how many pages are required. So let's create a variable called pages, and then I'm going to do total divided by 10. But we cannot do like, you know, directly divide the per page, and we can consider, because there could be scenario, let's say we have 11 records. So if we are going to divide by 10, then there is going to be some remainder. So what we can do, so in that case we need 11 page, not 10 page, right? So like 11 meaning that 2 page would be required. So for that, to avoid that scenario, what we can do, we can use this math dot ceiling function, which is going to round up to the next value. So if it is 1.2, it is going to give us 2, right? So let's use this one. And after that, once we got the page number, we need one array, right? So that we can iterate over to present some numbers. So here I am going to use let's say total page. No, let's start with the pages. Actually, this is total page. Let's change this variable name total pages, and let's call this as a pages. And I'm going to use array.form, which takes like a length which we want to create. So let's say total pages I want to create, and then it's take a map function where I'm interested in the index value, right? So let's say p, and then p plus 1. So it is going to generate me array from 1 to the page like, you know, whatever the page total pages value is there. So once this is there, what I can do next is that I can start by creating like, you know, first let's render this page, right? So it is best practice to use like, you know, ul element, and then inside that we will use lis. So let's say pages dot map, and this is kind of page, and after that I'm going to return, right? I'm going to return this in the form of li, this page, and let's render it on our app.tsx. Right, but this required couple of things. So as it is indicating, so total is going to be, let's say, kind of 108, right? And let's say per page we already have defined 10, and let's say here on page also let's provide a callback function here, and we will do simply console log that value for now. So as we can see, now we have this, as you can see, the first logic itself is working now. So we have 108, like, you know, total items, and then we want per page, like, you know, 10. So it is dividing, and then we eventually need 11 pages. So this is working. Now let's do some styling in the page, in the pagination component. So for that I would start with creating pagination dot module does css. I'm using the module, but you can use normal css as well. Like, just create a .css file, import it, like, you know, globally. But this is better way. I mean, this is the like, you know, good practice to use the module, so that it will not conflict with any other, like, you know, your class name. So I will start with the first class, that is going to be container class. Right, so I will do, let me import first. So here I'm going to import classes from this module, right? And I'm going to assign this to this one, my container UL, right? So let's say classes dot container. So it has been assigned. Now what I'm going to put it here is that I want to first do list style. I'm going to do none. First of all, I'm going to remove this. Then what I'm going to do here is, like, I can give display flex, and then I can give some gap as well. Let's say gap 20 pixel. So now you can see this is taking like, you know, the shape. Now what we can do here, right? So this is done. Next thing that would be required to do is, like, we cannot simply use the li, because we want to have, like, you know, proper accessibility. So to achieve that, inside li I'm going to use buttons, right? So let's use button, so that it will give user, like, you know, if you do a tab, it will go from one page to another page, like, kind of, it will navigate the user for the better accessibility. So I'm going to use here button, right? And I'm now what we have to do here is that, so this is there, and inside, above that, let's put li, and inside that let's put another button, which is kind of a previous button, right? So let's use this less than sign for previous, and let's copy this and put after that a greater than sign for the next page. So now you can see it's kind of like looking little good. Now next thing what we can do is that, right now we have just formatted this. Now we need a on click, right? So okay, so let's start with this current page. So okay, we need to maintain one state. So like, if I'm clicking on 5, this should be highlighted. So for that I would need a state. So let's say const current page. So it is kind of colliding, so let's say current and set current page. Okay, kind of let's use the same convention, and here we will do use the use state, and we will initially assign this value. Now we have to use one use effect as well, because let's say user will assign value from the top, it's not going to synchronize. So for that I'm going to use effect here one, and this use effect is going to run on every current page change, and then here we can just do set current with the current page to avoid any sort of stale data, like if user is passing from the top the current page value. So kind of this is done. Next would be to use this current page, right? So let's check this out here. So I would need one active class, like if I'm clicking on this should be highlighted. So for that what I can do, I can create an active class here so let's say active, and here let's say background we will give some light blue for now. Let's check this out how it is coming up. So here I will put one condition, like conditional class. So here let's use if current page equal to kind of, okay, I think we need to use this cur page, and if it is equal to the page value, then here I need to use my active class, right? And if that is not the case, then we can put just undefined, right? So you can see now it is highlighting, but still I am not able to move the pages. So for that we need on click, right? So let's put here one on click, and on this on click let's create here a function on page click, on page handler, let's say handler, and this is going to receive a page number, like current page, right? So let's call it here and pass this page. Now we will receive this page here, right? Okay, why this is creating problem? It's a const value, right? Okay, now what we can do here is that we can set the cur page when we are clicking, right? So we can do something like this. Now if I'm clicking, now you can see this is moving, right? But still these two are not working. So let's fix this one as well. So we'll have to put some on click, on next click, and on previous click handler as well. So let's do const on previous handler, right? So this will also receive a page number, right? And or it will not receive anything, it will just do minus on the current page. So we can use set current page, and then here we can use kind of a callback function to avoid any sort of state not updating issue, right? So let's say here I return page, but at the same time I will call my props as well, like if someone has passed like previous, right? So let's do here the callback function, I will call it here as well. So on previous, right? And this might be provided and might not be provided, so let's check a null safety here. So if that is the case, then page -1 we will do, and here also we will do page -1 because we are reducing it 1, right? And then we can call this on the less than sign, right? So on click. Similar thing we can do on next click handler, but this time we have to increase, right? So let's do next, and we will just add one, right? Okay, what I'm doing here, let's add one here also. Let's add one because we are going next, right? And this I will attach it over here on the greater than symbol, right? So on click. Now let's check this out how it is working. So okay, it is working, but now it is not respecting the boundaries, so we have to make sure this boundary get, like, you know, boundary we need to disable it once we reach to the, like, you know, last page. So to do that we can use here disabled properties, and then what we can do is, like, if the current page equal to like total page, if we have reached to the last, then let's disable it. And similarly what we can do on the, like, you know, previous button is, like, we can disable it if we are reaching to 1. So let's say if current page equal to 1. So if that is the case, it will be disabled. So let's start with 1. So you can see this is disabled, 2, 3, and we can move, and as soon as we reach at 11 it is disabled. So now it is respecting the boundaries as well, right? Okay, one thing here it is missing, right? So what is missing? So for example, if we go and see this, let's inspect this for a moment. Okay, we need to pass okay, key I haven't passed here. Let's pass this to avoid, okay, to avoid this warning, because whenever we are mapping we should provide some sort of key, so that like, you know, React can efficiently like understand which has changed and which hasn't changed. So now this is there, but we cannot see the log which we have put it here, right, on page click. So for that I need to call, once I'm clicking on page, once I'm setting this value, at the same time I have to call that, you know, on page callback as well. So this is important. So user has to pass this value, so I can directly call here the page number itself, right? On page, and on next also we need to call it here, right? So now everything has been called here. Now let's check this out, what happens here. So if I'm calling here 4, 5, so now this is working fine, and once we reach here it is disabled. Once we can reduce it, but again we have to subscribe, like, you know, subscribe in the sense we have to use the callback to get the number when we are moving through the arrows, right? So for that let's just put those those console log here as well, right? So that we can see if everything works just as expected or not. So on next, and let's say on previous. So let's check this out. Now if I'm moving, you can see these twice these values are getting printed because of the strict mode inside our, like, you know, development. So that is not an issue, right? So this is working. Now what we can do next thing is that we have to, let's check this one more scenario. If I'm changing this to 20, so this should also work, right? So now you can see this is only 6 page, so this is working as well. Next thing we have to fix here is that, not fix, we have to put is that some sort of, like, you know, accessibility, because when let's say someone is using a screen reader, then they will not be able to understand. So for that we have to put some area label here. So let's put this area label, actually label, and here we can say go to page, and let's here provide that value, and I have to use the backtick because I want to do string interpolation here. So let's use this backtick and we can pass here page, and this is fine. And then at the container level also we have to like probably say that okay, role we have to define kind of. So this is kind of a navigation only, right? So we should provide here some sort of navigation, right? And here also we have to provide some sort of area label, like previous page. So area label, and this we can say previous page, and for this one we can say next page. And we can also here pass area current, right? And we can say probably page, right? So now if we go here, we will not see anything different, but yes, I mean for the screen reader it will be easy, right, to understand where I am and where to go. So if you now see on the tabs are moving. If I'm clicking on enter, pressing enter, it is activating that page number and so on. So I think this is it. Like this is how you can build a production ready pagination component. Now you can use this component as many places as you want. So let's copy it and paste it again, and let's give here 40 and let's say 5 per page, right? So you can see here, right? So this is working. So that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next one.